There exists a law, unseen yet unbreakable, that governs the results of every life. It states that the world will always reflect the state of the mind that commands it. If your inner world is divided, your results will be divided. If your inner world is calm, your results will be consistent. And if your inner world lives in faith, not the shallow faith of wishful thinking, but the disciplined faith of mental command, the universe itself will conspire in your favor. This law is the foundation of all achievement. You must first believe and behave as though success is already operating through you before the evidence appears. To live like it is already working is not to pretend, it is to align. For life does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are prepared to receive. Every man creates twice, first in mind, then in matter. The architect designs before the builder constructs, the general strategizes before the soldier advances. The thinker conceives before the world obeys. If you are waiting to see before you believe, you have already forfeited your power. The mind that commands reality begins by acting as though reality has already bowed to its design. This is the first step toward mastery, the complete assumption of authority over your own consciousness. You must take command of your thought as a ruler takes command of his kingdom. No stray doubt, no casual fear, no idle complaint can be permitted to live in your mental dominion. Each thought you tolerate either strengthens your empire or weakens it. Thought is cause, condition is effect. What you tolerate in thought, you invite in life. Emotional detachment is the first shield of the mind. The man who cannot detach from emotion cannot build lasting order, for he is ruled by the temporary. The waves of feeling rise and fall. The wise build on the seabed beneath them. Detachment is not indifference. It is independence. It is the ability to think clearly when others drown in reaction, to decide calmly when others collapse in confusion. The undisciplined man lives like a leaf carried wherever the wind of circumstance blows. The disciplined man is the wind itself, silent, invisible, yet directing all motion around him. The weak spend their days asking, "Why is this happening to me?" The master asks, "What am I commanding within that has produced this without?" For the external world is a mirror of the internal one. To live like it is already working means to trust the process you have designed. It means to act, speak, and move as though success were not a possibility, but an inevitability. You must walk in the vibration of completion before completion arrives. This is not fantasy. It is the science of belief, the psychology of cause and effect, the invisible current behind every empire ever built. Faith, to the undisciplined, is a wish. To the disciplined, it is an order. It is a decree issued from the highest authority within, commanding all forces of thought, habit, and circumstance to align. The subconscious does not respond to hesitation. It responds to conviction. When you live like it is already working, you are teaching your subconscious to expect success, and what the subconscious expects, it manifests. Every master of success has lived this principle long before they could prove it. Edison lived as though the light existed before it did. Hill himself wrote as though the laws of success were already binding, long before the world accepted them. They did not wait for evidence, they became the evidence. You must now do the same. You must begin to live as though your system is already functioning, your purpose already fulfilled, your results already unfolding. This does not mean delusion, it means discipline. You are not denying reality, you are defining it. Reality always bends to the stronger mind. If you allow emotion to dominate your actions, you forfeit your sovereignty. Emotion was given as servant, not master. It was designed to carry the commands of your thought into motion, not to replace the command itself. The moment you react from emotion, you step down from the throne of reason and hand your crown to circumstance. But when you pause, observe, and respond from principle, you retain your power. Control of self begins with control of attention. Whatever captures your attention controls your destiny. The masses scatter their focus upon everything that glitters. The disciplined concentrate it like a beam of light. Focused attention transforms invisible desire into visible result. The mind that lives as if it is already working wastes no attention on doubt. It places all energy into creation. Understand this truth. Belief is not a feeling. It is a discipline. Feelings fluctuate. Discipline endures. Belief is maintained not by emotion, but by repetition, the repetition of thought, word, and deed in harmony. When you persist in acting as though success is certain, your nervous system adapts. Your habits align. Your identity evolves. The body begins to operate according to the image held in the mind. Every man eventually becomes the pattern he repeats. If you repeat fear, you become fragile. If you repeat faith, you become formidable. If you repeat distraction, you become divided. But if you repeat calm, focused detachment, if you train yourself daily to think, act, and speak as one who is already successful, you will find that reality has no choice but to comply. The mind is a factory. Thought is its blueprint. Emotion is its energy. Action is its machinery. The product is your life. If you are dissatisfied with the product, do not curse the world. Redesign the blueprint. It is not what happens outside that matters most. It is the pattern you allow inside. Living like it is already working means refusing to identify with struggle. It means to act from vision rather than circumstance, to think from outcome rather than obstacle. The man who sees himself as struggling becomes expert in struggle. The man who sees himself as succeeding becomes magnet to success. Do not say, I am becoming. Say, I am. For the subconscious does not understand future tense. It only obeys what you affirm as present. When you declare it is working, even before you see it, you shift your frequency to the level of completion. The universe, which operates by vibration, begins to deliver corresponding results. Stillness is the proof of faith. When you truly believe, you no longer chase, beg, or force. You move with calm certainty. You take consistent, intelligent action, but without anxiety. You no longer act to create success. You act to maintain the success that already exists in the unseen. This is the psychological state of mastery, certainty before confirmation. The undisciplined call it arrogance. The wise call it order. Confidence is not noise, it is composure. The calm man intimidates chaos because he has withdrawn his attention from it. The panicked lose power by focusing on problems. The disciplined increase power by focusing on principles. The difference is not circumstance, it is stillness. To live as though it is already working is to make peace with timing. You no longer rush results, for you understand that growth cannot be forced, it can only be nurtured. You do not dig up the seed to see if it is growing. You trust the law. What is planted, tended, and believed in will manifest in due season. Your task is not to question the season, your task is to remain faithful to the system. The impatient destroy their own progress. They plant the seed and uproot it in doubt. They build the foundation and abandon it for novelty. They cannot endure the silence between cause and effect. But the disciplined understand that silence is not absence, it is gestation. The invisible is preparing to become visible. To live like it is already working is to hold faith during that silence. Each day, you must practice mental rehearsal, not of what you fear, but of what you are creating. Visualize your systems functioning with precision. See your goals fulfilled. Feel gratitude in advance. This is not fantasy, this is focus. The subconscious cannot distinguish between imagined and actual experience. The picture you repeat becomes the path you walk. The disciplined man programs his mind through repetition, autosuggestion, and ritual. Each morning, he affirms his purpose, visualizes his success, and moves through the day as if guided by inevitability. He does not seek permission because he understands that reality is responding to his conviction. He does not compete because he knows that what is his will find him. He does not complain because complaint breaks concentration. You must decide once and for all to live from cause, not from effect, to act as though success were your default state, not your distant dream. Every time you speak, speak from completion. Every time you plan, plan from victory. Every time you think, think from mastery. The man who lives this way becomes unstoppable, for he no longer measures his progress by temporary appearance. The masses live in doubt because they see only with the eyes of the body. The masters live in certainty because they see with the eyes of understanding. The physical world is always slow to catch up with the mental one. What you believe today manifests tomorrow. What you doubt today delays tomorrow. Faith accelerates. Fear postpones. Emotionally, this requires detachment. You must release the need to see immediate proof. Detachment is not the absence of care, it is the presence of control. You care deeply, but you do not cling. You move forward with complete focus, but without desperation. You act from faith, not fear. When you detach, you remove resistance. And the moment resistance leaves, flow begins. To live like it is already working means to become unavailable for doubt. You no longer entertain failure as identity, you accept it as instruction. You no longer interpret delay as denial, you read it as direction. You no longer crumble when others question you. You understand that they are merely revealing their own limits, not yours. There is a calmness that comes when you know, not believe, not hope, but know that what you have begun in faith must complete in form. This calmness is the signature of mastery. It is the quiet certainty that all things are moving according to the law you have set in motion. You are not waiting for success to find you. You are aligning yourself with it, minute by minute, through discipline of thought and detachment from fear. Live like it is already working, and it will. Discipline begins where emotion ends. Every man must one day face the truth that wishing and willing are not the same. To wish is to hope the world will change. To will is to change yourself. The world obeys the man who disciplines his inner life, for he alone has become the cause of his own conditions. Discipline is the proof of belief. Without it, faith is fantasy. To live as if it is already working requires a higher order of self-control, the control that acts with purpose even when emotion disagrees. You must train yourself to do what must be done, when it must be done, whether you feel like it or not. That is not harshness. It is maturity. The undisciplined man waits for inspiration. The disciplined man creates it through motion. He acts first and lets emotion catch up later. Action produces feeling far more reliably than feeling produces action. Every act of discipline strengthens belief. Each repetition of principle ingrains command deeper into your nervous system. Discipline is cumulative. What you resist once becomes easier to resist again. What you persist in once becomes easier to persist in forever. Consistency compounds faster than talent. Talent without discipline dies in potential. Discipline without talent grows into genius. The reason most men fail is not ignorance, it is inconsistency. They understand the law intellectually, but they abandon it emotionally. The world tests every intention with delay. It asks, do you truly mean what you declare? The undisciplined collapse under that silence. The disciplined smile, for they know that delay is only verification of commitment. They live by law, not by impulse. There is a power in consistency so quiet that it often goes unnoticed, the power of inevitability. When you perform the right actions long enough, with faith and calm, results cease to be uncertain. They become guaranteed. A man who sows daily cannot avoid harvest. He may not know the hour, but he knows the outcome. That is faith in action, disciplined, deliberate, detached. Detachment does not mean absence of desire. It means presence of direction. It means your desire no longer controls you, you control it. It means you no longer chase what is already moving toward you. When your mind is detached, it radiates certainty. Certainty magnetizes opportunity. The moment you release desperation, doors begin to open. The energy of control is attractive. The energy of need repels. To maintain this state, you must build a system of self-command. Routine is the backbone of faith. The man who keeps his daily rhythm intact, no matter how he feels, will master himself faster than the one who waits for perfect conditions. Success belongs to the systematic. Each morning, you must reaffirm the same laws until they no longer require conscious effort. Each evening, you must review the same standards until they are as natural as breathing. You are programming a mechanism far greater than emotion, the subconscious mind. It does not respond to occasional bursts of belief. It responds to daily repetition of conviction. It must be told what to do, not asked. Speak to it with authority. Write your purpose as command. Repeat your intentions as fact. Behave as if obedience were already secured. For once the subconscious accepts an idea as truth, it rearranges all faculties, energies, and circumstances to manifest it. That is the unseen machinery of success. While the average man prays for a miracle, the disciplined man builds one through law. He understands that God and law are not separate. The divine responds to order, not chaos, to confidence, not confusion. Heaven assists the one who assists himself through discipline. The secret of emotional detachment lies in accurate thinking. Emotion distorts, discipline clarifies. Accurate thinking separates cause from symptom, truth from noise. When emotion arises, ask, what law is operating here? What belief within me is creating this experience? This question instantly shifts you from reaction to observation, from victim to controller. The one who questions calmly conquers quickly. Emotion is a signal, not a sentence. It was never meant to rule you, only to inform you. The disciplined translate emotion into instruction. Anger reveals what boundary must be strengthened. Fear reveals what preparation must be made. Sadness reveals what attachment must be released. Every emotion has purpose if you stay detached long enough to read it. The reactive man burns, the reflective man learns. You must remember, power grows in silence. Do not waste energy explaining your path to those who cannot see it. Most people will never understand why you withdraw from noise, why you refuse to argue, why you seem unmoved by praise or criticism. They will call you cold, but you are not cold, you are concentrated. Warmth scattered is wasted. Warmth focused becomes fire. Mastery demands solitude. The mind cannot govern itself while surrounded by constant input. You must build time each day for stillness, not passive but strategic. In that quiet, you recalibrate, review, and recharge. You align thought with principle before releasing it back into motion. The stillness of morning is the forge of command. Begin each day by setting intention, directing attention, and anchoring emotion. Do not leave the house until your inner world is ordered. To act while mentally disorganized is to start a journey without a map. 10 minutes of mental alignment is worth more than 10 hours of frantic effort. Order precedes power. The man who disciplines his inner world becomes immune to external chaos. His calmness becomes his fortress. He is no longer threatened by circumstances because he no longer depends on them. His sense of certainty comes from structure, not luck, from law, not chance. This calmness produces a magnetic field around him. Others feel it without understanding it. They are drawn to his balance, his decisiveness, his lack of fear. They begin to treat him as an authority, even before he speaks. Why? Because the world instinctively obeys order. Order is the true form of beauty, and the disciplined are the artists of destiny. You must now recognize that every moment of irritation, impatience, or anxiety is an opportunity to practice emotional detachment. Life will keep testing your calmness until calmness becomes unshakable. Each trial is not punishment. It is proofing the refining of your control. When something frustrates you, pause and remember, I am not this emotion. I am the observer commanding it. When fear arises, say, I am not afraid. I am aware of fear, and I will use its energy as fuel for precision. When temptation appears, declare, I am not divided, I am directed. This is mental sovereignty, the ability to define your state before circumstance defines it for you. The man who can define his state can design his destiny. He no longer waits for the right conditions to act. He creates conditions through inner alignment. He lives from vision, not reaction, from command, not coincidence. Such mastery requires patience. Progress in the unseen always precedes progress in the visible. The world will not immediately mirror your new state. It must be given time to reorganize according to your new vibration. Do not interpret delay as denial. The universe is rearranging matter to match your new mental blueprint. That process is mathematical, not mystical. While you wait, continue to act with conviction. Live as though it is already working. Speak only of solutions. Move only with confidence. Think only of direction. If doubt whispers, treat it as an intruder and escort it out with reason. Doubt thrives on attention. Neglect it and it dies. It is in this disciplined faith that your greatest strength is born. You will no longer be moved by appearance, no longer enslaved by moods. You will operate like a scientist of success testing, observing, adjusting, but never reacting. And when the results finally appear, they will seem effortless, as though success was always inevitable. That illusion of ease is the reward of consistency. True power is quiet because it no longer needs to prove. The river does not announce its arrival to the sea. It simply flows there. So too will your results arrive not with noise, but with certainty. Your duty is not to fight for evidence, but to embody expectation. Evidence follows embodiment. You become the result long before the result becomes you. Live like it is already working. Speak from completion. Act from purpose. Think from mastery. Soon, you will notice that life begins to move differently around you. People respond to your certainty. Circumstances align with your direction. Obstacles that once appeared immovable begin to dissolve, not because the world changed, but because your command over it did. Faith is not the denial of reality. It is the creation of higher reality. Discipline is not suppression. It is expression of precision. Detachment is not indifference. It is sovereignty. Together, these form the trinity of mastery, the mental architecture that no storm can shake. You are not here to survive. You are here to command. You are not here to seek. You are here to structure. You are not here to wait for miracles. You are here to enact law. Act as though the power you seek already moves through you, because it does. Every great mind that ever lived drew from the same infinite source: order, focus, and faith in motion. It is not reserved for a few. It is available to all who obey its principles. You have now entered that lineage, the silent brotherhood of those who do not hope for success but generate it. The world will not understand your stillness, but it will obey it. For stillness is the highest vibration of control. And when you reach that point, when your actions are calm, your emotions obedient, your thoughts precise, you will no longer question whether it is working. You will know that it cannot do otherwise. For what is born in law cannot die in chance. You will look at your life and see not miracles, but mathematics. You will see not luck, but law. You will realize that what others call destiny is simply discipline sustained over time. There comes a time when discipline matures into certainty, when repetition refines into rhythm, and rhythm becomes law. This is the law of mental certainty, the stage where faith ceases to feel like effort because belief has become identity. You no longer try to believe. You simply operate as one who knows. Knowing is not arrogance. It is awareness of alignment. Certainty is the quiet confidence that what has been set in motion must complete itself. It is the state of absolute internal order. You no longer need external proof to act, because you have become the proof. You live by principle, not persuasion. The disciplined mind, trained through repetition, no longer wrestles with doubt. It has burned doubt out through practice. Every thought, every action, every decision now stems from law, not mood. The undisciplined say, I hope. The disciplined say, I know. Hope waits, knowing moves. Hope wishes, knowing works. Hope trembles, knowing commands. When the mind reaches certainty, reality accelerates. Life responds faster because there is no contradiction left within. Every part of your consciousness, conscious, subconscious, emotional, moves in the same direction. You are no longer at war with yourself. Your energy, once divided by doubt, has become unified, and unity is unstoppable. The law of certainty cannot be faked. The world detects inconsistency instantly. You cannot lie to the universe. It measures vibration, not vocabulary. You can say all the right words, but if your heart wavers, results will waver with it. But when belief becomes bone deep, when your calmness carries the tone of truth, even the invisible begins to obey. The disciplined mind lives by cause and effect. It knows that if the cause is right, the effect must come. It does not panic if the result is delayed, for it trusts the law more than it trusts time. The farmer does not curse the soil because the sprout is unseen. He waters it, knowing the process is perfect. That knowing is not emotion, it is system. The greatest men of history lived this way with unwavering internal certainty long before results justified it. They endured ridicule, rejection, and delay without wavering because their confidence was rooted not in approval but in law. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. Emerson called it self-reliance. Every sage has called it by a different name, but the essence is the same. A calm mind governed by principle is the most powerful force in existence. If you wish to rise above the common noise of the world, build that certainty. Speak your vision as decree. Move as though every step were guided by inevitability. Let your gestures, your silence, your posture announce that you have already arrived. The subconscious responds to how you carry yourself long before it responds to what you say. The body is the subconscious in motion. Train it to express victory, and the mind will follow. This is where the discipline of inevitability begins. You must conduct yourself as though success were not optional. Every thought, every tone, every choice must affirm that the outcome is already secured. This is not arrogance, it is authority. Authority born from internal evidence. You have studied the law, applied the law, and therefore you trust the law. You are no longer the student testing the formula. You are the chemist applying it. The undisciplined chase proof. The disciplined generate it. The undisciplined demand guarantees before they act. The disciplined act, and their action becomes the guarantee. Life yields its treasures only to those who commit beyond retreat. This is why emotional detachment is essential. You cannot act with certainty while emotionally entangled with the outcome. Attachment breeds tension. Tension blocks flow. When you detach, you free the subconscious to operate unhindered. The principle is mathematical. Tension constricts, faith expands. The moment you stop grasping, you begin receiving. Detachment does not mean withdrawal from effort, it means freedom from fear. You work with precision, you plan with intelligence, but you release the anxiety of control. You trust the rhythm of law. You move in calm, deliberate momentum. The anxious demand results now. The wise recognize that timing is part of design. Certainty manifests not through haste, but through harmony. To be certain is to be aligned mentally, emotionally, physically. Your tone of voice, your habits, your decisions all reinforce the same vibration. You no longer contradict yourself. You say it, you feel it, you live it. The world cannot resist a unified mind. Every time you doubt, you divide your power. Every time you complain, you interrupt your signal. Every time you question your worthiness, you invite chaos into order. Therefore, train your mind to return instantly to certainty. Replace every "what if it fails" with "it cannot fail if I remain faithful." Replace every "what if it doesn't work" with "it is working, whether I see it or not." Faith is not blind. It is precise awareness of invisible progress. The disciplined do not need to see roots to know a tree is growing. They understand that cause always precedes effect, and they have mastered the patience to let cause mature. Patience, therefore, is not waiting, it is wisdom. It is the understanding that everything of permanence grows through process, not through panic. The impatient destroy the very results they seek. They pick the fruit before it ripens and then complain of bitterness. The disciplined plant, nurture, and trust the law to handle the sequence. This is the science of inevitability. Cause held consistently must produce effect. If you persist in right thought, right action, and right belief long enough, the outcome must align. The universe has no choice, it obeys principle. If it could betray its own law, it would collapse. Therefore, when you act in harmony with law, success becomes a matter of time, not luck. Stillness plays its role here, for stillness is faith in motionlessness. The one who can remain calm in the middle of uncertainty demonstrates mastery. To the outside world, he appears passive, but inside, he is constructing universes. Stillness is not inaction, it is organized control. It is the quiet before precision. The calm man does not need to force results because his confidence generates gravity. He becomes the center around which results revolve. Opportunities drift toward him not because he pursues them, but because he radiates reliability. In a world of scattered minds, the focused are irresistible. Remember this: emotion wastes energy, discipline conserves it, and certainty multiplies it. Every time you master a reaction, you save power. Every time you keep composure under pressure, you store voltage. That stored energy becomes magnetism. You have felt this magnetism before the presence of those rare individuals who seem to bend events to their will. They are calm, centered, deliberate. They rarely hurry, rarely explain, rarely falter. Their stillness is not weakness. It is control compressed into silence. The world calls them lucky, but luck is simply the intersection of readiness and rhythm. Your goal is to become one of these men, not through pretense, but through internal architecture. Build yourself into order, so complete that chaos cannot penetrate it. Train your mind to remain fixed on principle regardless of circumstance. Discipline your emotion to remain obedient to logic, your logic to remain obedient to truth, and your truth to remain obedient to law. Then, when others panic, you will remain composed. When others waver, you will stand. When others give up, you will advance. You will move not with desperation, but with inevitability. And inevitability is the final stage of power. Once a man reaches this stage, the universe itself rearranges to accommodate him. Doors open that were never visible. Timing aligns as though choreographed. People appear exactly when needed. This is not coincidence, it is consequence. You have become the cause, and the world has become your effect. This is the goal of mastery, not control over others, but complete authority over self. He who controls himself controls all that depends on him, his focus, his energy, his destiny. He no longer hopes for favorable conditions, he creates them. He no longer seeks inspiration, he embodies it. He no longer wishes for success, he executes it. The highest discipline is serenity. When you can hold serenity under pressure, you demonstrate to life that you are ready for leadership. Power tests calmness before it trusts it. Only the calm can be trusted with command, because only the calm can think clearly. Emotion clouds judgment, stillness clarifies it. You must therefore train calmness as a daily exercise. Observe irritation and dissolve it with breath. Observe tension and release it with perspective. Observe fear and transmute it into focus. Do not fight emotion. Reframe it. The reframe is mastery. In time, your stillness will no longer be effort, it will be nature. Others will look to you instinctively for guidance, not because you speak louder, but because you vibrate higher. They will seek your composure to borrow stability. You will not need to convince, your presence will persuade. And as your inner world stabilizes, outer success accelerates. You will see that life was never opposing you. It was reflecting your inconsistency. The moment you became consistent, life became cooperative. That realization is liberation. You will walk differently, slower but surer. You will speak differently, fewer words, but each with weight. You will think differently, less reaction, more reflection. And you will live differently, less striving, more flowing. For now, you are not chasing success. Success is orbiting you. The universe is not testing you. It is teaching you alignment. When you respond to every trial with calm discipline, the lesson ends. When you panic, it repeats. The test only continues for those who refuse to learn detachment. So when difficulty arrives, smile inwardly and say, I know this is working, and it will be, because you are no longer reacting to life, you are directing it. You are living like it is already working. And once you live that way long enough, it always will. There comes a moment when repetition turns to revelation, when the man who once practiced control no longer needs to remind himself he simply is control. That is the culmination of mastery. When discipline becomes instinct, when faith becomes structure, when calmness becomes your natural state, this is the law of silent command. The world no longer obeys what you say, it obeys what you are. People listen not because you demand, but because you have become the embodiment of direction. Your energy speaks before your words do. Your movements announce certainty before your tongue moves. You have entered the realm where action has the gravity of law because you are no longer operating from emotion, but from principle itself. This is the power every human secretly seeks: sovereignty of mind, the dominion to hold peace in chaos, order in conflict, focus in temptation. To remain untouched by noise, unmoved by fear, unbroken by resistance, not through denial, but through design, not through avoidance, but through authority. And this power is not loud. The weak roar because silence terrifies them. The strong remain still because silence obeys them. Silence is not emptiness, it is mastery in its purest form. When your inner dialogue becomes ordered, the world outside begins to mirror that order. Every external victory begins in an internal command that no one else can hear. You will notice that you no longer argue, you no longer defend, you no longer need to convince anyone of your worth, your vision, or your direction. For truth defended is truth doubted. The disciplined have no need to justify. They live so precisely that reality itself becomes their argument. The man of silent command persuades without debate, influences without effort, and succeeds without struggle. This is the proof that you have mastered emotional detachment. You can engage fully without attachment to outcome. You can lead without fear of loss, act without fear of failure, and love without fear of rejection. You do not retreat from life. You stand still in its center, and everything begins to move around your stillness. That stillness is not passivity. It is the highest activity of the spirit. It is thought functioning at its most concentrated state, like a laser cutting through confusion. The still man accomplishes more with one deliberate act than the restless with 100 frantic ones. His power lies in precision. His calmness is not slowness, it is sharpness under control. He does not react, for he knows that reaction is the language of weakness. He responds, and his responses are law, because he acts from principle, never from impulse, from command, never from confusion. And now you must understand this. Emotional detachment is not the absence of emotion, it is the sovereignty of it. To feel deeply yet remain undisturbed is the highest art of power. The master still feels, but his feelings are servants, not masters. He channels love into purpose, anger into clarity, fear into foresight. Nothing is wasted. Everything is transformed. You may think such calmness makes one distant. It does not. It makes one divine. For when you no longer seek validation, you become the source of it. When you no longer crave approval, you become the standard of it. When you no longer depend on outcomes, you begin to define them. The undisciplined fight to control the world. The disciplined simply control themselves, and the world follows. This is the hierarchy of law. Mind over emotion, order over chaos, cause over effect. The moment you master this sequence, destiny becomes predictable. For destiny is nothing more than consistent cause multiplied by time. You were never meant to beg for success. You were meant to become its system. The mind that has achieved discipline no longer chases results, it builds processes that make results inevitable. This is the hidden truth of all greatness. Success is never achieved through intensity, but through structure. The still man wins not because he moves faster, but because he moves correctly. There is a calmness that can only come from experience, the calmness of a man who has seen the law work too many times to ever doubt it again. He knows that the invisible always precedes the visible, that energy always precedes form, that alignment always precedes opportunity. He no longer panics in delay because delay is proof that precision is taking place. He trusts the law like the earth trusts gravity. He knows that everything once set in order must return to him multiplied. For law is not partial, it serves all who serve it. And so you must live now with that same certainty. Every word you speak must be command, not question. Every movement must express authority, not anxiety. Every decision must reflect clarity, not compromise. You must walk through the world as if the forces of destiny have already been briefed on your arrival, because they have. You have spoken the language of law long enough. You have trained your thought, tamed your emotion, disciplined your routine, and mastered your patience. The universe cannot ignore a mind like that. It must respond in kind. And when results begin to appear, do not be surprised. Do not say, "It's working." Say, "It could not do otherwise." For nothing in law happens by accident. Every success is the delayed echo of disciplined thought. Every victory is the mirror of inner stillness made visible. You have learned that the man who controls his reactions controls his results. The man who controls his habits controls his destiny. The man who controls his attention controls the universe itself. For the world is shaped not by those who shout the loudest, but by those who think the clearest. You are now one of them. No longer should you pray for success, you should embody it. No longer should you seek peace, you should emanate it. No longer should you wish to influence, you should exemplify. This is the secret of kingship over the self. True greatness does not announce itself, it simply is. And so, From this day forward, live in this quiet certainty that what you have built within is the architect of what will soon appear without. Speak calmly, move deliberately, think accurately, love wisely, act decisively. For everything that proceeds from you now carries the vibration of inevitability. When challenges come, smile, for they are not interruptions, they are confirmations. Every obstacle is evidence that the law is working, that you are being refined into the clarity required to hold greater power. Accept it, master it, and continue your rhythm. Do not attempt to force life, you are now beyond that. Simply remain aligned, and life will deliver according to your order. Keep your mind on your vision, your heart detached from fear, your will anchored in discipline. Then watch as life begins to cooperate with you in ways you once thought miraculous. This is not magic, this is mastery, the power of one who has united thought, emotion, and action under the same banner. The world bows to that. You will rise in silence, not because you demanded it, but because you designed it. You will become a magnet for opportunity, not because you begged for it, but because your vibration commands it. You will move through the world untouched by chaos, undisturbed by noise, unprovoked by smallness, because you have built what few dare to build: a mind so still that nothing external can shake it, and a will so disciplined that nothing internal can betray it. That is success beyond definition. So walk calmly, speak truthfully, act precisely, and live with the poise of one who already knows the outcome, for indeed the outcome is already yours. You have mastered the only domain that ever truly mattered: your own consciousness. Everything else must now obey. Because the moment you live as though it is already working, it is. And when it is, it always will.